Hey, welcome back to Living Box Free. I'm Ashleyne Seitz.
And I'm Becky Ford.
And we are going to talk about health today. Overall wellness. It can be pretty chaotic out there in the world. There are lots of different messages, lots of different ways that you can be healthy, all these different things. Man, it's confusing. And how do you even achieve what even is wellness? What is health? What does that look like? Is it a state of mind? Is it a state of being? All the questions. We're going to talk about it today.
Hopefully we can answer a few.
Hopefully.
Also, today is a special day because it's our first time based on multiple people who say, I went to YouTube and I didn't see your podcast.
Yep.
We're going to be videotaping.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. We have tried to stay away from videos as much as possible because our routine is we normally work out.
Yep.
And then we podcast.
And I did not think about this before I got dressed this morning. And I'm in my usual all black.
All black, sleek.
Yes.
So anyway, you're welcome.
Here we are.
You get to see us in our natural state.
Yep.
Yes.
It's true. So what's on the rise for you this week, Becky? That's what we always start with.
What is on the rise with me? I grew up on a small farm. I love animals. I work for Elanco, which is all about animals. Mm-hmm. And I have a friend who lives in Pendleton. Her name's Laura. And I multiple times have wanted to go up. They bought a farmhouse maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
And she's always like, come up and see the goats and see the cows. And finally, since I had time off work, it's holiday break right now for us, we went up yesterday and I took Sawyer and another friend, Brittany, got to see all the farm animals, which was super fun. And I'm sure that my child probably got an immunity boost through everything. Laura would
you were going to say some sort of worm or something.
Oh, well, maybe. I don't know. Laura gave him like a bone to give the dog. And of course he puts it in his mouth. We're like, no.
Yeah.
So it was a blast though. I love animals. I also know how much work they are. So I'm also okay with not having all those farm animals right now.
Yes.
There's a super cute baby calf. They had some belted Galloways. So it's like they have like a white
the Oreo
belt
cows.
around. Yeah, the Oreo cows. Mm-hmm. This one was brown and white.
Oh.
The calf was. It was
okay.
so cute. So it was super fun.
Okay.
What about you?
We are starting not only our wellness circles right now, but also our gym has a annual, if you will, challenge.
Yearly, annual.
Pick
Whichever one.
whichever
happens once a year.
Yes. We have a health challenge, and I'm going to start counting macros again, which is protein, carbs, and fat. Mm-hmm. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to meal prep? When am I going to meal prep? And also my two things are counting macros, and then trying to be consistent about timing into the gym. And I got to figure out, am I going to go in the morning every day? Am I going to go in the evening every day? What does that look like? My work schedule, it's super difficult to find one time of day that always works. And I get stressed out about it. And then I don't always go. And anyway, I need to just pick and figure out when can I make this happen at least 4 days a week. So that's what I'm working on. That's what's on the rise for me.
I think you should do both.
Both morning and evening.
Just kidding, but
Are you kidding?
So much fun. Just do it both times.
Yep.
Yeah, getting that routine, getting ready for the new year. That's what's on our mind. And I'm sure it's on a lot of people's minds right now, which is why we are going to be talking here as we are in 2022 about wellness.
2020. Can we just take a moment?
Yeah.
2022.
Yes.
Okay.
I told Ash I hit this throwback playlist on my Spotify because I'm bored of all my songs. And I'm like, this isn't throwback. And then I'm like, you were in college. That was a while ago. Oh my gosh, my college songs are now throwback.
15 years.
Diamonds by Rihanna and Firework by Katy Perry. 15 years. That's crazy.
Yes.
Yes, 2022. Insane. We made it.
Yeah.
We are still living in a weird world,
but
it's a little less weird than 2020. One of the topics that a lot of people, and this is something that I feel like has risen as a need. I hear at my daytime job, I hear it in the gym, and I hear it from friends and family, is this need for wellness. And I just think about when someone says, I am not well, that's usually, it's a pretty serious situation.
Yeah.
And so today, as we look at the new year, we wanted to do a podcast. Both of us are very passionate about wellness and being healthy and happy and feeling fulfilled. And so we're going to talk about what exactly is wellness. And what are the different categories of wellness that we can think about and focus on and reflect on? And then finally, we're just going to talk through some quick tips. There's lots of resources out there. We'll talk through a few of those today. Strategies.
Is that a ninja move? What was that?
Yes. It helps.
Okay.
It makes your strategy better.
Cool.
My child's going to be making ninja noises before he speaks full sentences, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Anyway,
let's talk about
wellness.
What is wellness? There's multiple definitions. I'm going to use the definition that seems to be the most global. It is the Global Wellness Institute, and it is called, the definition of wellness, the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health. Key words here. So one thing to point out is wellness, and this is a difference between wellness and well-being. Wellness is not passive. It is proactive. So for us to be pursuing wellness, we are being proactive about our health, the choices. We're actively pursuing it. And it goes beyond physical. We'll talk about that more as we get into the different sections of wellness. And then second, this is the second point, it's holistic health. It's not just, what is my BMI or what's my body fat percent? There's more categories to wellness. And I think it's important to call that out because sometimes I find people, and I've even done it, where you're like, if I just lost 10 pounds, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
And oftentimes that happens, but that didn't change anything.
Yeah.
And so when I think that's why wellness is so important. It takes us up to that balcony to look down at the holistic picture of health and how are we doing in multiple categories? Because sometimes you might think losing 10 pounds is all you need. Who knows? Maybe it is. Maybe that's it. However, maybe it's more of a relational thing that's holding you back or that relationship's causing you to eat bad because you're sad. So that's an important thing about wellness is it's holistic. It's a bigger picture than just physical.
Yeah. I mean, I think a great example for me right now is I'm currently the heaviest I've ever been by far. Like
ever.
And some of it is muscle, and I am strong. I am also the strongest I've ever been, at least on record. No, I was pretty scrawny in high school. I don't think I was stronger then. So I am the strongest I've ever been, but I also have more body fat right now. But it's partially due to the fact that I'm taking a medication to help me sleep. So I think the sleep is helping me gain muscle, making me stronger, and making me less cranky, less depressed. So that's helping my overall physical wellness.
Yep.
But then I'm hungry all the time, and so I'm eating more and I don't have time to eat well necessarily. So that's decreasing. So it's a balance of all of these different things.
Yep.
And weight is just one tiny piece of that that doesn't really even matter when it comes to my holistic wellness.
Yeah. I did not know that this is the heaviest you've ever been.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't have known that. Yep. Strongest. Ash, shout out. She's PR'd twice recently. Squat clean. How many pounds?
I think it was 5.
Still, it's a PR. And PR, for those who aren't CrossFitters, it's personal record or personal best. And then also her deadlift, she PR'd.
Also 5 pounds.
Yes.
A whopping 5 pounds.
When you've been doing CrossFit as long as us,
every pound counts.
Anytime you PR is a big deal.
Yes.
As we think about wellness, something else, I know I talked about the active pursuit. It is that active process of being aware and making choices that lead toward an outcome of optimal holistic health and well-being. One of the things I wanted to point out, so two more things as we wrap our minds around what is wellness. One piece of wellness I think is super cool. So this Global Wellness Institute, they actually had a wellness continuum. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is what they teach at the CrossFit Level 1, except it's a little different.
Okay.
It's a different visual. And I wanted to call this out I think this is a super cool piece when we talk about CrossFit. CrossFit's not just about working out. It's about the health, the wellness, and this wellness continuum that we learn. I got an image here. I'm actually going to blow it up some. On the far left-hand side, if you imagine a continuum, so a line, far left-hand side, that's what we call sickness. And that is where we have a high body fat percent, blood pressure is not great. resting heart rate's not great. And there's certain, LDL, HDL, there's certain metrics. And I know Ash can see the image here. There's actual numbers. I'm not going to share those with you because I don't want you to freak out.
It's a little too complicated.
Yes. But so the far left-hand side of this continuum is sickness. And that is where we are focusing on, I've got clinical issues. I need help. I'm going to the doctor. They are addressing a health issue.
Yeah.
In the middle of this spectrum is where we have wellness. And this is the ideal place to be. Like, wellness is where we want to be. I know that some people are like, what? It's in the middle. Yes, it's in the middle. Wellness is where we have a good metabolic health. I know Whoop just shared a podcast. Only 1 in 8 Americans is metabolically healthy.
Yikes.
And there's certain markers
Okay.
that they look at, and they've done a lot of data. They did a study with Whoop and another organization. That's crazy.
Not
7 out of 8 people are metabolically.
What is that? What is metabolic health?
So it's looking at, like, metabolic health is your heart health.
Okay.
Yep. And there's also in the pyramid of fitness,
Yes.
metabolic health is one of the ones at the bottom of the pyramid because we know that one of the leading causes of death is heart disease, cardiovascular disease.
Makes sense.
So wellness is in the middle of this spectrum. On the far right-hand side is fitness. These are your elite athletes. So if you do not get to the far-hand right side of this wellness continuum, it's okay. Like, some of the metrics on here, body fat percent of a man is less than 6%, females less than 12%. That is fitness. That's the far right-hand side. That is very intense. Those are like games athletes we're talking about. But it does help us to think through. So that wellness and then the fitness side, that is where we're being proactive. And we use the word wellness. We're exercising, we're fueling our body right, we're resting, we're getting sleep. Ash has just said sleep has helped her gain muscle. So as we think about the spectrum, key takeaway, left-hand side is reactive. I have disease, I have clinical issues going on, the doctor's prescribing me something. Far right-hand side, super, super fit. Middle to far right-hand side, we're being proactive, we're exercising, we're taking care of our body to keep us away from the doctor's office.
Yeah.
Some last thing when it comes to wellness, I wanted to call out, because I even had to think about this. What is the difference between wellness and well-being?
Oh,
what do you think? Because a lot of times we use them.
I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of times wellness and well-being are used interchangeably.
Yes.
And I know that we do that in our office, our place of work, a lot. And so this was intriguing to me.
Does it have to do with emotional state and well-being as opposed to wellness?
So both of them have a focus on emotion,
Okay.
as well as mental and spiritual.
So no, I'm wrong. Great. Keep going. What's the difference, Becky?
Yeah. So there's a graphic that has the difference. It has wellness on one side, and then the right-hand side, well-being and happiness. And a couple things, it's interesting. So like on the left-hand side, wellness relates to intention, action, and activities. Well-being is perception of a state of being. And well-being does have a prominent mental or emotional dimension, and wellness is more prominent towards physical dimension. So you are somewhat right.
Sort of.
Wellness still has like emotional, mental, spiritual. The other thing, I won't read off everything on this graphic, but the other thing to call out is that active pursuit. So you can have good well-being and maybe you're not changing anything. Like you're just like, my well-being is good. Yeah. When we're pursuing wellness, we're actively trying to pursue it. Yeah. So that's another difference.
It makes me think of the Life is Good brand. Like well-being and happiness. It's kind of that embracing of the good parts of life and but it's not necessarily actively going after it.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. Yeah. Okay, that is what is wellness.
Okay.
So big takeaways. It's holistic health. It's proactive. You're actively pursuing those choices, lifestyles, and habits. What are the areas of wellness? Okay, just shout.
No
what
idea.
do you think? Shout them out. What are a few areas? I know we've mentioned a few.
Physical.
Yes.
Emotional.
Yep.
Spiritual.
Yeah, you're doing great.
Mental. No.
Yes. Yes. Actually, that is a separate one.
And is that it? Is there one more?
It's a trick question.
Oh boy.
That's a trick question. There's up to like 12.
Oh. Wow.
But what happens, a lot of organizations say for our wellness model, we're going to focus on 5. Okay. So a lot of times people focus on 5 of them.
Gotcha.
So, but there's up to 12.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I definitely can't think of 12.
That's okay. So I'll just list off, I think the only one you didn't list that I called out, the top ones that we would focus on, physical, nutrition can be a part of physical or it can be separate. Either one. Mental, emotional, spiritual, social, which is relationships. Other areas, financial wellness, environmental wellness was one, intellectual wellness, professional health.
Okay.
So there are different ones as well.
That makes total sense to me. I just wouldn't have thought of them.
Yes. So big picture rundown, physical, it's probably what it sounds like. It's nourishing a healthy body through exercise and movement and rest. Nutrition, fueling your body for what it needs. Mental. So here's probably, I think the interesting thing is mental, emotional, and spiritual, and that those are separate. I think some people combine them. For mental, and this is once again from the Global Institute of Wellness, how they define it, engaging the world through learning, problem solving, and creativity. Isn't that cool?
That is cool.
Yeah. If you haven't listened to our Respecting the Creative Process podcast, go back, check out Corey there.
Yes.
So that's mental. Emotional, being aware of, accepting, and expressing our feelings and understanding the feelings of others.
Yes.
So that's kind of the emotional intelligence side.
Whew, that's a big one.
It is big. Yeah. Spiritual, searching for meaning and higher purpose in human existence.
Okay.
Yep. Social, we already mentioned it. It's connecting with people, healthy relationships. Out of the areas, those were the ones that I called out that as we focus on wellness, we're going to be doing some coaching around wellness. Those are the ones we'll probably focus on.
Yeah.
The next one, I think, if I had to choose a next one that I hear certain people in our circles talk about is financial. Mm-hmm. That's another one that I think some people are doing really well. Some people need a little bit of guidance there. But yeah, those would be the top ones. I know we did a podcast on getting out of debt.
We did.
Yep.
Yeah. Financial stuff. It's really complicated. I feel like because we don't talk about it and it can be messy. So it can feel like something that if you're struggling with or you just weren't taught, you should be able to talk about it. I don't really know why it's such a taboo thing, but
I hope they're teaching it in high schools.
Probably not.
Probably not. Wah. Yeah. So those are the categories. Once again, there's up to 12.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch for us and our On the Rise work. We'll focus on physical, nutrition, mental, emotional, spiritual, social. Mm-hmm. Yep. Anything that I missed?
No, I mean that was very very thorough.
Thorough? All right.
Thorough. Good job.
At least you didn't make up a new word like I did. Expression. Last part. We always want to hit on what can you take home? How can you apply this? There's a couple tips we're going to share and maybe even some of our personal tips or shared learnings from trying to pursue this state of holistic health, wellness. First one, do an assessment. It is 2022 now. If you haven't already reflected on last year, hopefully you take some time. It doesn't have to be a lot of time, but just you could call it an assessment, a reflection, a look back. How are you doing in these different categories we just mentioned? What's mental, engaging the world through learning and problem solving and creativity? I would love more time to be creative. For me, that is something I want to create space for this year. So doing an assessment just to see where do I stand? And there are some assessments online you can do. I know that we have an assessment we'll do with our wellness coaching circles that we're putting on. Mm-hmm. So that's one tip.
Yeah.
Where do you stand today?
Yep. And you can just walk through. I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated. Like you said, it can be one sentence. You can be like, oh, financially, I'm not saving as much as I want to. Mm-hmm. In 2022, I'm going to try to save X amount of money. Yep. I mean, it does not have to be rocket science.
Yes.
Unless rocket science is one of your goals.
Yeah.
Because creativity and mental, whatever.
Side note, speaking of rocket science, so there's a welder who's going into the gym to weld some stuff today. Did I tell you this?
No.
And he built a spaceship.
What?
Rocket. Yes. So he teaches welding now.
Okay.
He's actually the husband of one of our members, and he worked for NASA, built a spaceship, then he built a roller coaster, and then he's like, I just got bored after that. And
oh my gosh.
Now he teaches welding. How cool is that?
That's super cool.
And he's welding stuff in our gym, and he's built a spaceship.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So side note,
Mind
side tangent.
blown. Anyway.
Okay, number 2. So first one, do an assessment. It can be super simple. If you will like rocket science, you can go online. There's different assessments you can take. Create new habits and routines. So we talk about assess where you're at. And Ash already mentioned this. Okay, I want to save more money. Okay, what is a habit? Maybe it's breaking a habit. I'm not going to go to Starbucks every day to save money. And we'll save $5.95 a day. I don't know. I don't buy Starbucks. Or new routines. I know you also mentioned going to the gym. When are you going to do that?
Right.
Mornings or nights? For me, I know we both talked about this earlier today, meal prepping.
Yes.
That's probably the number one habit routine that sets me up for success on the nutrition side.
Yeah.
And especially if I'm going into the office, which I will be in this year, 2022. I hate cooking, but yes, meal prepping. I know that I will thank myself later if I do it.
And I know I need to think in advance about when I'm going to do that, when I'm going to take the time, when I'm going to go grocery shopping, when I'm going to, even putting the things in all the different containers and then washing the containers afterwards.
Yes.
You need time for all of that. Yep. And it's easier to maintain if you have that habit or that rhythm. So absolutely.
I'm going to have to change my grocery shopping because I normally grocery shop on Mondays. And now I'll have to go back to like Fridays or the weekend. Change. Third piece here, get accountability.
Oh, yeah.
Any tips from you on that?
Just do it. Just like whatever it takes. Join a group, join a challenge, have a friend be like, we're texting each other every day. I mean, I think I put this on Facebook recently, but the times that there has been serious change in my life has always been around community, has always been around people helping to coach me, helping to give me ideas, helping to be like, are you sure you want to eat that?
Are you sure we should be eating out?
Yeah, exactly.
Cluster Trek is awesome.
What if we just stay home? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the thing that makes the biggest difference for most of us, I think. And we feel like we should be able to do it alone, which doesn't make any sense to me. Like we were created as community people. I mean, that's community people. That didn't make any sense.
We're like wolves. We're a pack. We're a wolf pack.
That's better. Yeah. And we're supposed to be in community. It's how we work. It's how our culture functions. It's just, it's the best way to do things and to create change.
Yep. I 100% agree. And I've had similar experiences, challenges with people, one-on-one accountability partners, all of that makes a big difference. I did speaking of technology, discover some apps. I think this is pretty cool. Some apps that can help you track your goals and your habits. There's one that I just downloaded a couple weeks ago called Habit Bowl.
Oh.
And you can enter in, like I've got a weekly habit of reading. So you can enter in that habit and this app will pop up and ask you, have you done it or not?
Oh, that's cool, yeah.
And you can have it ask you every day, once a week. So if you want 100% people, community, that's the best way of accountability. If you do want something just to remind you, there are some cool apps out there.
And I would almost put that into the habits and routines.
Yeah.
More than the accountability, because an app, you're not going to feel bad if you're like, nope, didn't do it.
Yeah.
I'm
not going to hurt its feelings.
If I'm like, oh, Becky, I didn't do my homework. You know?
Yeah. To help remind you. Last one here that I've got. And then Ash, if you have any other tips I've missed, I would love to hear them. The last one I have is coaches and mentors. When it comes to wellness, and I know this is a space where there are more like wellness coaches out there. In work, so like my workplace, as a part of our development plan, every employee is supposed to have a mentor, or we support that. And oftentimes in work, we're like, oh yeah, it'd be great for you to find a coach to help you process through this. For some reason in our personal lives, we don't think of that as a tool. Yeah. At least that's what I've found. And I want to throw that out and think of yourself. You are worth being invested in outside of the workplace. You're worth being invested in for your personal happiness, fulfillment, and health. And do not hesitate to find a coach to help you process through what you need on a personal side to find wellness, or a mentor who is someone who you are like, man, they've got it. Like, how do they do it all? Ask them to be a mentor. And it doesn't have to be a mentor relationship. Like, a lot of people love helping others. So it doesn't have to be something where you feel guilty for asking them.
Yeah.
And you need to talk to them about like, what's the frequency that works for them? Maybe it's once a month and they can't do more than that. But once a month is more than nothing.
Yeah.
And having coffee and talking through, how are you doing? Here's what I've done. Here's some advice. Let's meet in a month and see how it's going.
Yeah. I think the only thing I would add, and it's kind of to all four of those, is this frequently costs money. These kinds of things. Getting a coach can cost money. Joining a challenge can cost money. Joining our wellness circles costs money.
Yep.
Sometimes taking assessments. Sometimes, if you're honest with yourself, you really need to pay for meal prep. You can't just make it yourself, or you don't have time, or pay for a gym. Yeah. I mean, we were talking earlier today about how a lot of people that pay for cheaper gyms don't go because the investment is not there.
Yep.
And I think that's something to keep in mind. It's really, really challenging, and it's a balance for sure. I'm not saying spend all your money on your wellness, but you're more likely to stick to it if you paid for it, and if you paid a decent amount of money for it than if you didn't. And you often get what you pay for.
Yep.
So coaching can be expensive to pay for, but it's valuable. And investing in yourself is valuable, and you will continue to grow that way. And you know that you will because you're paying for it.
Yep.
So that's something to keep in mind. And I know it does get messy with finances. If your finances are where you're struggling, and then paying for those resources to fix your finances feels kind of ridiculous, but sometimes that's what you need. It's what you need to do to help you figure out how to get out of those cycles, because that's what it's about, is breaking that cycle.
Yeah.
So.
That's a great point. I'll finish with a quick story. And it is one of the moments of 2021 that I'll never forget. And I still worked remotely all of 2021, did leadership classes. And one day I had a one-on-one with someone from one of my leadership classes. And she was telling me how just a few days ago, like before we talked, it was the end of the day and she was in her garden and she was just crying and she couldn't stop crying. And she said, Becky, I just realized that every single day I work so hard to make my boss happy, to make my employees happy. She has people that report to her, to make my husband happy and to make my children happy. And at the end of this day, I was just sitting out in the garden by myself and I couldn't stop crying because I realized no one is trying to make me happy. And we talked and she said, it was just a couple days ago, I've decided every day I'm going to do one thing that makes me happy. And I know Ash just talked about investing in yourself. It could be something that requires money. It could be something that doesn't.
Yeah.
You are not selfish by focusing on your wellness. This person I talked to, that was earlier in the 2021. We talked later and she is a better manager, a better mom, a better wife, all of that because she is happier by doing one thing a day for herself. It's not a selfish thing. It ultimately is going to help you be even more of a servant to those you care about.
Yeah.
So that's our goal.
Yep.
We want to help, and we're in this journey too.
Yeah.
We're constantly learning. We want to help everyone to be in that active pursuit of holistic health and happiness ultimately, and feeling fulfilled. And I think that this year, it's a new year, 2022. Now is the time.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Hooray.
Catch you next time.
Catch you next time. Bye-bye.